praises to our Heavenly Father. I thank the Most High for another day. This is another law of the day. And I pray that you yourself, that you do go through your scriptures at least once a day and once at night. So I may not do the law of the day every day, but I pray that you yourself will um, do go through your own Bible. It's very important for us to, try to meditate in the book of the law once a day and once at night, like the Most High told us to do. He said that if we want to be successful, we should meditate in the book of the law once a day and once at night. That's Joshua chapter 1, 7 to 9. Only be thou only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou might observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn, turn not turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou might prosper wheresoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart from thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou might observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So that's why we do this. Most High encourages us to meditate in the book of the law. So let's go look around and see. I like to do it randomly. So let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's go to Leviticus. Okay. Leviticus. Let's try 21. Oh, 21 is for the priests. Yeah. The laws in Leviticus 21 is for the priests. Let's check it out. Yeah, well, actually, this is good. But it's not for us, though. This is for the priests. So if you notice, I don't usually quote Leviticus 21. So let's see if we can read it from here. Leviticus 21. Instructions for the priests. All right, let's check it out and see, because it's still a law, or the law from the Most High. Yah said to Moshe, give the following instructions to the priests, the descendants of Aaron. A priest must not make himself ceremonially unclean by touching the dead body of a relative. The only exception are his closest relatives, his mother, his father, son or daughter, brother, or his virgin sister who depends on him because she has no husband. But a priest must not defile himself and make himself unclean for someone who is related to him only by marriage. So, we're not supposed to touch dead bodies. We're not supposed to touch a dead body or a grave or enter into a house where somebody died within the last 7 days. We are not supposed to get into a house or hospital or a building that somebody had died in within the last 7 days. If we do, it's not a sin. It's not a sin. for you and I, who are regular people. The priests are not allowed to do it at all. So if a priest deliberately make himself unclean, that will be a sin. But you and I, we can touch a dead body, actually. We can touch a dead body. We can touch a grave. We can enter into a house where somebody dies. But the thing is that when that happens, we become unclean for 7 days. We become unclean for 7 days. Being unclean is not a bad thing. Being unclean is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you have certain thoughts, you become unclean, especially if you are healthy. If you are a man and you eat healthy, your inwards, your internal organs are clean. Your veins and your arteries and your system is clean. You know what that means? That can actually be causing you to become unclean, because if you have certain thoughts, if you have certain thoughts, certain sexual thoughts, you can actually release and then you become unclean. It happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. It's just that when you become unclean, then you have to wash your whatever clothes where your semen touched has to be washed. For the brothers, if you smoke and you drink and you've been eating junk food all your life and you're fat, it may not easily happen to you because your system is all blocked up. But for brothers that take care of their health, which I think you should take care of your health, for those that take care of their health, they actually are going to be unclean more often. Just because their system is open, their body is all, everything is, you don't have, their body is not clogged up with junk. So, the main thing is that being unclean is not a bad thing. Touching a dead body is not a sin. Entering into a house where somebody dies is not a sin. Touching a grave is not a sin for regular people like you and I. The priest cannot do it. The priest cannot touch a grave. The priest cannot enter into a house where somebody dies. The priest cannot touch a dead body except for his dad, his mom, his son, his daughter, and his sister who is still a virgin. Now, I am not a priest and you are not a priest. So let's go to the law that applies to us, the one that applies to you and I. Let's go there. So this one is for the priests. So here, Numbers chapter 19. Numbers 19. Let's start from verse 11. All those who touch a dead body, all those who touch a dead human body will be ceremonially unclean for 7 days. They must purify themselves on the third day, and on the seventh day with the water of purification. Then they will be purified. But if they do not do this on the third day and on the seventh day, they will continue to be unclean even after the seventh day. All those who touch a dead body or do not purify themselves in the proper way defile Yah's tabernacle, and they will be cut off from the community of Israel, since the water of purification was not sprinkled on them. Their defilement continues. Verse 14. Verse 14. This is the ritual law that applies when someone dies inside a tent. All those who enter that tent and those who were inside when the death occurred will be ceremonially unclean for 7 days. Any open container in the tent that was not covered with a lid is also defiled. And if someone is in an open field and touches the corpse of someone who was killed with a sword or who died a natural death, or if someone touches a human bone or a grave, that person will be defiled for 7 days. To remove the defilement, put some of the ashes from the burnt purification offering in a jar and pour fresh water over them. Then someone who is ceremonially clean must take a hyssop branch and dip it into the water. That person must sprinkle the water on the tent, on all the furnishings in the tent, and on the people. Who were in the tent, also on the person who touched a human bone or touched someone who was killed or who died naturally or touched a grave. On the third day and on the seventh day. On the third day and on the 7 days, the person who is ceremonially clean must sprinkle the water on those who are defiled. Then on the 7th day, the people being cleansed must wash their clothes and bathe themselves, and that evening they will be cleansed of their defilement. Let me throw in verse 22 also, because it's very important. Anything and anyone that are defiled, anything and anyone that a defiled person touches will be unclean until evening. Anything and anyone that the defiled person touches must be unclean. So my brothers and sisters, let me just make this very simple. I know as it's being read, it sounds complicated. It's not complicated at all. This is not complicated, my brothers and sisters. If you touch a grave or a dead body, or you enter into a building where somebody died within the last 7 days, you become unclean. If somebody died in that house 10 days ago and you enter that house today, you will not be unclean. If somebody died in that house 9 days ago and you enter that house, you will not be unclean. So if somebody dies in a house, or let's say you go into a hospital, like a major hospital, major hospital, those huge hospitals, if you go into that hospital where people die like every day, people die like every other day, those type of hospital, I try to avoid it. But there's nothing wrong with being unclean, though. There is nothing wrong with being unclean, or touching a dead body, or touching a grave. It's just that when I do that, I am unclean and I cannot enter into the congregation of the Most High, I cannot pray. I cannot pray or touch anything that is holy, like touching the Bible. You will not be able to touch the scriptures. You will not be able to pray. You will not be able to enter into the congregation whenever you touch a dead body, whenever you touch a grave, whenever you touch, uh, you enter into a house where somebody dies, you automatically becomes unclean for 7 days. So, if you work in a hospital, that could be a problem because people die at the hospital, frequently. People frequently die at the hospitals. So that's what this law is talking about. The first one that we read in Leviticus 21, that was for the priests. Those are for the priests. But, I had to come to Numbers 19 because we are not the priest. I am not a priest. You are not a priest. So the one in Leviticus 21 does not apply to us. That was for the priests. The one that applies to you and I is the one that we see in Numbers chapter 19. So, my brothers and sisters, if you have a grave around you, make sure that the grave is secured properly so that people will not be touching that grave, just carelessly. Because each time anybody touches that grave, they become unclean. And if you do know that somebody, is unclean, and let's say there's a grave in your house, a grave of a loved one, and you don't secure the grave, and children can easily go touch the grave, children run and touch the grave, you are responsible for their uncleanliness, and that's actually a sin. Because if your child becomes unclean, or somebody under you becomes unclean, you have to make sure that they take care of themselves, they wash themselves, they clean themselves, before evening. Or in this case, if they touch a grave, it's for 7 days. So I know that another question that might come up is, what type of water can you use to wash yourself? Use regular water, because the water that the Most High talked about, that water that He talked about in Numbers 19, we don't have that water right now. The priests are supposed to make that purification water. The priests are supposed to make that the soap, the high soap, made with ashes. So we don't have that particular type of soap right now. So you just use a regular soap, wash yourself, make sure you take a shower, wash yourself when you're going to be unclean for 7 days. And within that 7 days, you cannot pray. You cannot touch anything that is holy or enter into the congregation. In the congregation, how do we know this? Leviticus chapter 12. Leviticus chapter 12, when a woman sees a monthly period, she cannot enter into the congregation. She cannot touch anything that is holy, and she cannot, communicate with Yah, or she's unclean. We don't come to the Most High when we are unclean. When we are unclean, we stay away from the Most High. Exodus 19. Exodus chapter 19, 10 to 16. Exodus 19, 10 to 16. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. If you check out my website, you can actually download the commandment book. I have something called the commandment book. I have a book that you can download for free. It's called the commandment book, and all these laws, most of these laws have already been addressed. I wrote out these laws, and I gave you biblical answers with scriptures addressing these things. So if you have any question, I recommend that you give me a call, but I also highly recommend that you download the commandment book. How do you download the commandment book? You go online. So let's say you go to YouTube, you go to Google, and then you type in commandment book. Okay, you Google commandment book, and then you scroll. Yeah, there we go, right here, commandment book. See, so if you Google, you go all the way down, see where it says commandment book. Commandment book, you touch on that, it opens up, and then you could come in here and download the commandment book. Here, this is the commandment book. You touch it, you should be able to download it. If you just look around, or if you're not able to do that, you contact me, I will send it to you. a lot of the questions that you may have about baptism, circumcision, feast days, and like different topics. A lot of topics have been addressed in this commandment book, and it's free. So check it out on my website, download it, and go through it. You do many things. This book is very this book is very helpful for those who wants to know the law of the Most High, those that want to know the commandment of the Most High, those that want to keep the commandment of the Most High. This book is very helpful, very useful and helpful for those. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. I give the Most High all the glory and all the honor. And I thank the Most High for keeping us, protecting us, and guiding us, and giving us the opportunity to be alive today, to come up today and wake up today. Many people went to sleep last night and they did not wake up. Many slept last night and did not wake up this morning. Here we are today. We have woken up, and we thank Him for His protection and His guidance. We give the Most High all the glory and all the honor. So that's going to be the end of the law of the day for today. And I may not come on every day to do this, but I encourage you to go through your scriptures, open it up once a day, once at night, to go through the book of the law. And if you would like us to talk, if you have any question or you would like us to discuss any biblical topic, you're welcome to give me a call at my phone number you can see on this page, on this YouTube page. Feel free to give me a call if you have any question. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. Give the Most High all the glory and all the honor. And Yazulin, I'll talk to you soon.